Right, okay, so today I am here with the lovely Kerryn. Kerryn is from Steinmetz Pilates and Wellness, get it right. Lovely to see you here, Kerryn.
Thank you very much for having me, Louise.
No, you're welcome. Now, Kerryn has recently joined the St Albans and Hatfield Women in Business Network. So it's a really good opportunity to find out a little bit more about what she does, why she does it, and how she does it. So, Kerryn, I think you've been doing this as a business for a couple of years now. Can you tell us what brought you to where you are now? Because I know your background is actually in human resources, not, you didn't train to do this originally.
Indeed. So I was in HR for 10 years beforehand, and got into it thinking that I would go off and change the world, etc. And aspects, of course, in HR you do, but for me, I kept coming back to Pilates because of a long-standing back issue. And long story short, I took a bit of time after 10 years of being in HR and reevaluated. I've got a very forgiving husband, which is great. What I'd like to do, and just felt that I kept being drawn back to Pilates and the rehab aspect behind Pilates. And so I put my heart and soul into changing careers, which is slightly frightening at any age. And I have now been doing this for roughly 2 years. And I focus more on one-to-one and small groups of people where I tailor your Pilates to you specifically. So that's just a little bit of a taster in terms of what I do.
So when I was talking to you earlier on, we were talking about specifics in terms of, Pilates for cyclists, Pilates for horse riders and runners. Is
Sure.
that because your background is that way, or is it just because that's the sorts of things that people have different different needs for different things, runners versus cyclists, for example?
So I think one of the best things about Pilates is its versatility and the ability that you, in most instances, can apply it across sectors, industries, your pastimes, etc. What it kind of boils down to is people, or Pilates instructors would be helping people improve and or change movement patterns for the better. So if, for argument's sake, you would be sitting at your desk and do most of your work and life at your desk, so enjoy esports, that type of thing, or if you were quite active and went out about that sort of thing, we tailor the Pilates according to you. So my initial training is more generic based, and then what I thought to myself is, well, each body is so different. There are lots of different spheres that people could really benefit from Pilates, and so I thought to myself, well, let's spend a bit of time, let's see what's out there for horse riders, for runners, for cyclists, and each of these kind of works on the movement patterns that you do in the actual sport or pastime, but then also looks to improve the movement patterns so that you can do whatever it is that you're passionate about for longer. And so, I mean, I suppose that's really nutshelling it, but that's the gist of how it differs.
So, for example, if somebody had, an accident, well, not necessarily an accident, but an injury, then you could work with them specifically targeting that the injury, but also obviously the impact that it has on the whole body as well. Yeah. So one of the aspects that I have trained in is your injuries and pathologies aspect, and I often work hand in glove with physios and other health practitioners to make sure that the work that we do actually is good for you, because it's great if we do exercises together, but we need to be making sure that it's tailored for you. So for argument's sake, you have lower back pain, which tends to affect quite a big chunk of the population, irrespective of whether or not it's in the UK, South Africa, where I'm from, etc. So what we would do, with your permission, is link in with your health practitioner, and the three of us would kind of create something that is more tailored to you and to your specific body, so that, we can work on your injury, we can work on improving it, and we're doing it in a safe way that benefits you and that's in line with your health practitioner's guidelines. Okay, so I know that you're offering
one-to-one or two-to-one sessions, either via Zoom at any time during the day, so kind of early morning, you know, early risers, through to the early evening. But you can also go in COVID dependent into people's homes as well. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So my speciality is one-to-one, and we do Zoom lessons once a week. Ordinarily, I'll have a nice package where you do 4 sessions a month, and we meet on a weekly basis via Zoom, and it's just you and I, and we have dedicated Pilates time where we go through a program that I've specifically selected for you, in conjunction with anything that you want to work on. And if you have practitioners, you tell us what we need to focus on, we do that. But then, sorry, I've now forgotten what I was saying.
We were talking about the being able to do them in people's homes or via.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, so in terms of the home visits, I do those as well, COVID-19 regs dependent. So obviously I'll go in with the mask and hand sanitizer and all the rest. And here I would come to your place. It's restricted at the moment to London and Hertfordshire, just because it's a little bit easier in terms of getting out and about. But there I would do more one-to-one based hands-on training with you. But you know, it differs ever so slightly from the online sessions. What I'd suggest for people who are starting out, if you are based in Hertfordshire or London, that we do 1 or 2 one-to-ones together, face-to-face, and then we move online. But if it's not feasible, we can always do online instead. That's absolutely fine.
Okay. So I know you offer a free 45-minute session, just because people, you know, don't necessarily know what Pilates is and how to do it, and you know, maybe they just want to give it a go. So that's something that you're happy to do for the next 6 months, really, isn't it, until the end of the year?
Yeah, so I'm very keen to do more of an introductory offer, so 45-minute tester sessions for folks. I'll be providing links and QR codes, etc. shortly moving forward. I've also got a Calendly page that you can book in. And during that session, we run through a quick indemnity form to make sure that the exercises that I give to you are appropriate. And then we do an actual Pilates session that's you and I, and it's live and it's free. And here we focus on 1 or 2 things that you think to yourself, actually, you know what, I've got slight lower back pain, or you know what, I'd really like to work on my core or my posture because I'm behind a desk all day or a drive, or whatever the case is. And so we focus on 1 or 2 aspects there, and you can really get a feel in terms of what I do and how it can benefit you.
One of the things that I found really interesting was you said that last year you did a workshop with, was it stenographers?
Yeah, sonographers, so like ultrasound.
Where did that come from? So can you tell us a bit more about that? Because I'm guessing, you know, people who are using the same parts of their bodies day in, day out can get worn out quite quickly. So tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah. So I was approached by a friend last year who works in the sonography department and heads up one of the departments, and they were quite keen to do a workshop for sonographers to get a little bit more in terms, because that industry is rife with repetitive strain injuries, as you correctly said, Louise. They'll be sitting there and doing the same actions, sitting sort of stationary for long periods of time, or having to repeat the same patterns. And with that, obviously, your RSIs, repetitive strain injuries, come about. And so what we try and do there as a Pilates teacher, and obviously in conjunction with health practitioners like your physios, your osteos, is create programs that prolong the body a little bit more. So if you are, let's say, constantly using the wrist the entire time, we look at stretching exercises. If you're if the posture is particularly bad, shoulders are rounded, we look to improve the core and work on the posture, obviously body dependent. And so through that, I then created a presentation where we spent some time going through the challenges of being a sonographer from a physical point of view, injuries, etc. And then we looked at preventative measures, and then we did a workshop afterwards, or more of a program afterwards, where I went through from top to toe a full Pilates workout for them that was more based towards sonographers. So it is something that I'm looking to do moving forward, looking into different industries and possibly doing similar networking events or programs for them so they can get a little bit more out of themselves.
That's really interesting. So really you're looking for, you know, industries that might have kind of people, well, I suppose it's relevant to anybody, but, you know, particular professions that are, you know, have particular stances and poses that they're in all the time, really. And also you talked about working with other health and well-being professionals and in kind of looking at collaborations in some way.
Yeah, so I mean, in addition to working in specific sectors within the, I suppose, the job market, coming back to my HR roots, I am quite keen to do some collaborations with folks across the health and wellbeing sector. I'm quite open, I suppose, to opportunities there. So I mean, at the moment, I'm looking to do a few events, one with an equine-based coach. I'm doing another one specifically for horse riders. There's a little bit of a theme at the moment, but I'm obviously open to different industries. But moving forward, I'm quite keen to focus on maybe doing collaborations with like your hypnotherapists, your business coaches. I suppose anybody who feels that they might want to be getting a little bit more out of themselves physically, or they feel that their clientele might be wanting to get a bit more out of themselves. Improving posture, improving overall fitness, that sort of thing. So that's kind of where I am, but I'm always open to opportunities.
No, that's brilliant. Okay, right. So Kerryn, obviously a lot of information you've given us today in terms of what you can do and how you can help people, but also, you know, about collaborations as well. So what is the best way for people to get hold of you if something you've said has resonated with them?
Okay, so two main ways here are either via my email address, which is info@steinmetzpilates.com, or you can hit me up on Instagram, and that is Steinmetz Pilates 1, as in like the number 1 at the end of it. And then on that page, you've got my link tree, and you can have a look at all my various different bits and pieces and access your free 45-minute taster session.
Brilliant. So you're based in St Albans, but the power of Zoom means that you can do those sessions anywhere, and you're willing to kind of go Hertfordshire and London areas on a face-to-face basis.
That's correct, yes.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Kerryn. It's been really lovely chatting to you, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks very much for having me, Louise. All the best.